Part 52. First Marriage Then Love, Mr. Mayor Please Be Kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 534. The third update is here. For ordinary people, as long as they have official names, they are very capable and capable. Therefore, Lee Daejin, who is in his 40s, is only at the deputy department level, but in the eyes of Wang Yukin and others, he is also very awesome. He was very coaxing, especially since he was from the police station, which made Wang Yukin feel even more amazing. When he was young, his family was too poor, and the candidates he was introduced to were all crooked melons and bad dates. Fortunately, he went to high school and could be regarded as an educated person. He didn't want to find ordinary rural girls who couldn't read or write. But at that time, he works in the fields, and he doesn't work as much or as fast as others. His family is too poor to take the blame, so how can a girl with no connection with culture possibly marry him? If you come and go twice, the delay will be huge. It seems that he was quite lucky. A good friend from back then was assigned to the police station when he returned from serving in the army. Thinking of his past friendship and that his conditions were indeed suitable in all aspects, he was recruited to the police station. When he was first assigned to the police station, he was just an ordinary worker. His family should be poor, and he was already in his 30s. Girls with good conditions were still unwilling to marry him. Later, he put all his thoughts on his work. He felt that he finally saw clearly that it was impossible for a man to find a desirable wife if he couldn't behave well. He didn't want to make do with it, so he might as well just forget it when he found it. Because of his idea, many people thought there was something wrong with his mind, and he knew that others thought so. But he always insisted on his own ideas. Until I met Wang Jing. I don't know why, but he never has any special thoughts when meeting girls. He actually wanted to marry her home when he saw her for the first time. He knows his age. It is impossible for Wang Jing to fall in love with him. Although he is now the deputy director of the police station, Wang Jing's future development will definitely not be worse than his. It is not impossible to find a young man with similar conditions to him. His efforts may not be able to impress her. He then took a detour to save the country, promising the Wang family huge profits and asking the Wang family to marry Wang Jing to him. Before Zhou Mikang found him, he really had the intention of not marrying Fei Cheng. He even thought that he could use special means to marry the other party, and he also decided that after marrying her home, he would treat her well and try to satisfy all her wishes to make her feel that marrying him was worthwhile. And he really felt it. Wang Jing met all his requirements for choosing a mate. In this life, he wanted to marry just such a woman. If he has another child belonging to the two of them, then his life will be considered complete. As for promising to help the Wang family, he didn't worry. For ordinary people, the so-called care. Just give him a formal job, that's all. It was not difficult for him to do. There are so many factories in the area, how can it not be a matter of minutes to arrange a brisk formal worker? While he was having sweet dreams, Zhou Mikang and Chu Xia Wang Jing came over. Needless to say, as soon as Zhou Mikang showed his military officer ID card, Li Daejiang's legs went weak. Mom, this is an unimaginable existence for him. Compared to him, sesame seeds and mung beans are nothing. Official, he is a real official. She didn't talk much nonsense to him, and just asked him to go to the Wang family to propose marriage to Wang Qiuzu. When he heard the other party's request, he almost peed with fright. He thought the other party was deliberately testing him, so he waved his hands to promise that he would never harass the Wang family again, and would never have any thoughts that he shouldn't have again. In fact, when he said this, he felt regretful in his heart. However, after spending so many years to get to this position, he knew very well that there were some things that he could persist in and some things that he couldn't. Otherwise, not only might he not get what he wanted. If you arrive, you may also lose the original one. In the end, he figured out that what the other party wanted was for him to test. To put it bluntly, this was also an opportunity for the Wang family. If they didn't do too much, they would still have the opportunity to become a master in the future. If they did too much, it may be difficult to talk about being a superior person, but it may also be difficult to be a subordinate person. When he was performing inside just now, this group of people was actually guarding outside. Therefore, Wang Yukan and Wang Qiaozu's performance no longer required him to make a detailed report. He came here just to wait for instructions from below. It's hard for Director Li Zhou Mikang said. No. No. No, Li Dajiang waved his hands repeatedly. This is what I should do. Oh no, this was originally my fault, and I should make up for it. He looked at Wang Jing. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done it. The toad wants to eat the flesh of the swan. I want to ask you something. Originally. After a pause, Wang Jing sighed. Originally I didn't want to ask you, but I still wasn't willing to do it. During the New Year's Eve yesterday, if I went back, they would how to do it? Forcing you to agree to marry me. If you don't agree, Wang Jun and Wang Nan will lock you and me in a room and force us to have sex. Asshole, Wang Jing clenched her fists tightly. I'm sorry, Li Dajin drooped his head, but I really like you. I know my methods are dishonorable, but I have no other choice. What do you mean? Wang Jing looked at him coldly. You mean, I should feel honored and honored to like you? No, 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 I just want to explain to you that I'm not messing around. I really like you and know that you can't like me, so, I acted despicably. You yourself also used the word despicable, which shows that you are aware of the nature of this matter, so please don't mention this matter to me again in the future. I can't bear it, okay? Okay, okay, I will never mention it again. Li Dajin nodded repeatedly, expressing his determination. My dad, what was my dad's attitude last night? When asked this question, Wang Jing clenched her fists unconsciously. He denied what they were doing, but that didn't count. He wanted to inform you, but he was being watched all the time, and he had no choice. Wang Jing, I know more or less what happened in your family in the past. Sometimes Uncle Wang and Aunt Wang quarrel, which can be heard clearly in our house. I can tell you responsibly that Uncle Wang does not miss you in his heart. Once, Aunt Wang wanted Uncle Wang to take you back from your sister-in-law's place, saying that there was no one at home to wash clothes and cook. Uncle Wang firmly rejected her proposal and threatened her that if he had to take you home, he would divorce her. The fight was particularly fierce that time, and the two of them got into a fight in the end. My parents went over to break up the fight. Later, Aunt Wang saw that Uncle Wang was serious about it, so she didn't mention taking you back again. My parents have said before that your dad is not a bad person, and he also pretends to be a daughter at heart, but he is too honest and a bit coward, which leads to the current situation. Also, even if you don't marry me, if Wang Nan really wants to marry me, my parents will not agree. The neighbors live here and there, and they can feel their tempers. They would rather I be a bachelor than want me to be single. Marry a wife like Wang Nan. Zhou Mikang laughed. Are you reminding me that if the Wang family forces you to marry Wang Nan, am I responsible for messing up the matter for you? I don't dare. Li Dajin smiled sheepishly, but I really feel that if I were to marry her, it would be better for me to be single. Okay, please pay more attention to what happens next, and don't forget to call us. Zhou Mikang waved to him. Go and do your own business. The problem is completely solved. I'll treat you to dinner. Li Dajin immediately stood up straight. Thank you, Chief. I will do as you please and I won't eat any more. You're quite polite, but... Chu Xia curled her lips at him. You are also a bully, and I despise you. Madam, you are right to despise me. Early summer. Seeing someone's speechless look, Wang Jing, who was originally in a depressed mood, couldn't help but laugh. After getting along with Chu Xia for a long time, she had adapted to the other person's way of speaking, but for someone like Li Dajiang, how can you tell which one of her sentences is a joke and which one is the truth? Isn't this just a serious answer? After Li Dajian returned home, Chu Xia and others also drove away. On the way, they saw Wang Nan and Wang Jun approaching with gloomy faces. Chu Xia and Wang Jing lowered their bodies. At this time, they could not let the other party know their details. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan Nuan. Chapter 535. One update arrived. We've walked over, get up. After Wang Nan and Wang Jun passed away, Zhou Mikang called to Chu Xia and Wang Jing, who were lying on the back seat, to get up. Wait a little longer, what if they turn back, Chu Xia said while holding down Wang Jing, who was about to get up. There were few cars in this era, and it was normal to look around curiously. She had to be careful. The vigilance is quite high, Zhou Mixang praised, and then said, get up, they have no intention of looking around now. That's right. Chu Xia sat up slowly, I'm thinking about harming people, so how can I think about anything else? Senior sister, get up, why are you lying there? I'm angry, don't touch me, Wang Jing breathed and said. After a long while, she got up with a long breath, looking at Chu Xia resentfully, you hit my ribs with your arm. So weak, Chu Xia said this, but she stretched her hand towards the opponent's side, does it still hurt? Sorry, I was a little impatient. Wang Jing smiled and waved her hands, it's okay, it's better. I've had this problem since I was a child, so I never dared to go into the water, for fear of accidentally losing my breath and drowning myself. What a delicate little body. Chu Xia looked at Zhou Mikang as if he was taking credit, you also said that I am not in good health. Senior sister's health is not as good as mine. Why don't you compete with Luo Xiaoxiang? Chu Xia rolled her eyes and looked at Wang Jing, senior sister, he looks down on us. Wang Jing didn't dare to answer, so she could only answer with a dry smile. Senior sister, don't go home. Come back with us during this period, Wang Lei will stay at Zhou's house, leaving Wang Jing alone at home. It's not interesting to be deserted during the Chinese New Year. I asked Mrs. Zhou for her opinion before early summer. At this time, I sincerely invited Wang Jing. Wang Jing shook her head without thinking, no, I will definitely join in the fun on New Year's Eve. But third aunt will definitely be worried if you are alone at home these days. Chu Xia continued to persuade, if you feel uncomfortable, you can live with me. Wang Jing quickly glanced at Zhou Mikang and quickly explained, I'm not being polite, nor am I uncomfortable. You said you all have a father and a mother. How stimulated was I there, I wonder if it was her imagination, but I felt that when Chu Xia made the proposal, Captain Zhou felt his whole body getting cold. Okay, then you can go there during the Chinese New Year. Chu Xia said and couldn't help but add, actually, the third aunt has always treated you as her daughter. I know, but after all, I am already in my 20s and not a child anymore. Now I live with my sister-in-law, just to prevent my sister-in-law from feeling that she is married and I am alienated from her. But she lives with her husband's family. If I stay with her, my feelings will be different. I don't want others to say that my uncle has a wife and a big oil bottle. I know what Wang Jing said makes sense. People of this era are still very concerned about this aspect. Even if the Zhou family doesn't mind, what outsiders say reaches the ears of Wang Lei and Wang Jing. Both of them will definitely feel uncomfortable. To put it bluntly, Wang Lei's marriage to the Zhou family was a little short. Everyone has not really gotten to know each other, and it is impossible for them to truly consider this place as their home with just a few words. A person blends into a family. It takes time, and she is an exception. She has already experienced this once before, and she is relatively more adaptable this time. Furthermore, she comes from a relatively open era, and her perspective on things is somewhat different from people who truly belong to this era. Fortunately, the people she meets are not rigid, and God is still very kind to her. After sending Wang Jing home, Zhou Mixang and Chu Xia rushed to the Zhou family's old house. During this period until the Chinese New Year, everyone lived in the old house. Firstly, it was to make Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan comfortable, and secondly, the old house belonged to the Zhou family. After all, for celebrating the New Year, of course it would be better to stay in the old house. You don't think I'm meddling in other people's business, do you? Midway through, Chu Xia asked, looking at Zhou Mikang's face. What do you think? Don't use rhetorical questions, Chu Xia rolled her eyes at him, just tell me whether you will or not. Okay. What do you mean it's okay? You're just a little nosy, but it shows that you have a kind heart. Zhou Mikang reached out and rubbed her head. Keep up the good work, I'm here, don't be afraid. What do you mean? Chu Xia looked at him in confusion. From what you mean, I seem to have done something wrong. Which thing are you referring to? Are you asking Li Dajin to go to Wang's house to propose marriage, or are you asking Wang Jing to go to your house? New Year. Zhou Mikang had a dark streak on his face. When this person was unhappy, he immediately said that he was no longer a family member and called him your family. It's right to let Wang Jing come to our house to celebrate the New Year, but you forgot one thing. Wang Jing is Wang Lei's niece. You have to leave some things to Wang Lei, not you to arrange them. That's right, Chu Xia slapped her forehead fiercely. Why did I ignore this matter? Hey, I'm such a pig. At that time, I thought that Wang Jing was quite miserable alone, and I also thought that Wang Ligang was just I might be embarrassed to open my mouth when I get married, but I think I am doing something good. Wang Jing's personality is different from before. I won't misunderstand Wang Lei. Zhou Mikang glanced at her funny, please be more careful in the future. I'm just giving you a vaccination in advance. I got it. Chu Xia glanced sideways at him and curled her lips. I discovered that you are really mean-spirited. No, I won't be able to trust you so much in the future. I'll help you count the money even if I'm sold by you. Ha ha ha. Zhou Mikang smiled happily. A big heart is better than a pig's brain. I hate it, you're laughing at me. Chu Xia pushed him angrily, but couldn't help but sigh. I haven't seen my second sister and fourth sister for a long time. They should go home before the Chinese New Year, right? I'll probably be back in the next 2 days. Zhou Mikang looked pleased. The close relationship between his wife and his sister-in-law was what he most wanted to see. The two of them returned home in whispers. After greeting all the elders, Chu Xia specifically told Wang Lei that they had sent Wang Jing home. Wang Lei said with a grateful face, Chu Xia, it's just empty words to say kind words, but you should understand how I feel. I really thank you. I understand, third aunt, please don't think I'm nosy. Chu Xia sheepishly told Wang Lei Zhou Mikang's concerns. If there is a rift in the relationship between third aunt and senior sister because of me, then I'm so upset. No, Xiajing's personality is different from before. Speaking of which, I also want to thank you. Wang Lei smiled sheepishly. As he said it, he became polite again. Forget it, I don't. It's too much to say that we are one family, not two families. Well, third aunt is right to think so. After some hesitation, Chu Xia still told Wang Lei about the plot against Wang Jun and Wang Nan. Wang Lei would have to know about this sooner or later. Telling it earlier would avoid suspicion. Gap. Hey, Wang Lei sighed heavily without saying a word. Chu Xia knew that she felt bad, so she didn't say anything more. She had done everything anyway. If Wang Lei was unhappy because of this, she would have no choice but to admit it. During the meal, Zhou Mikang told everyone the news that Chu Xia went to the operating table for the first time today and was successful. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Old Mrs. Zhou glared at Zhou Mikang, then looked at Chu Xia dissatisfied. Are you still talking to us? Why don't you say anything about such a big matter? Chu Xia smiled flatteringly. Grandma, I'm afraid that if I tell you, you will become worried, and I will be very nervous. Mr. Yuan values me so much and fights for me with such great pressure. If I make a mistake because of my nervousness, but I'm so sorry for him. Look for a reason, the old lady snorted. After the operation, why don't you call home and the head office? At least let the second child and the fourth child come back together to celebrate. Fortunately, they have been thinking about you. Zhou Mikang quickly answered, Grandma, I bear witness to this. Chu Xia is also thinking about them, and asked me on the way when they would be back. You think you'll be fine? You're most wrong. It's inconvenient for her to make phone calls, but how about you? How convenient is it for you to make phone calls in the army? You naughty kid, you don't have us at all in your heart. Grandma, celebrate for me now. Chu Xia smiled insincerely. Actually, I really wanted to say it out earlier and everyone would praise me, but I was afraid of appearing too arrogant, so I couldn't bear it until now. Easy. The old lady couldn't hold it back and burst into laughter. She simply nodded her head and scolded her, if this happens again, no matter who else it is, Grandma won't like you anyway. Chu Xia nodded repeatedly, no, 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 I will inform the elders as soon as possible if there is any big event in the future. In fact, it is quite a lot of pressure for me to withstand it. Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe were very proud of their daughter's ability at first, but now they were amused by their daughter and laughed bitterly. Why didn't they realize before that their daughter was a real treasure? But this makes them feel more at ease. This is also a milestone for early summer. Let's do it with water instead of wine, and gather people together during the Chinese New Year to celebrate again. Okay, let's drink water instead of wine. I wish our family will become a famous doctor in early summer. Mr. Wan stood up in response to Mr. Zhou's suggestion. Others also stood up and said congratulations. I had black lines on my head in early summer. It was just a minor surgery and I celebrated it twice. Will it make my smile look bigger if others know? However, it was rare for everyone to be happy, and she didn't want to spoil the fun, so she toasted happily, I will definitely work hard to become a famous doctor and bring honor to the Zhou family. I will bring glory to my parents. They were just random auspicious words, but they made Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe burst into tears with excitement. They were speechless and kept nodding their heads vigorously in agreement. This made Chu Xia suddenly feel proud. For the sake of her parents, we must fight. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 536. Second update arrived. After dinner, Yu Tao chatted with Chu Xia, brother and sister. How did you feel when the scalpel was cut? Did you feel scared? After thinking about it, Chu Xia said, the most difficult thing is the first time you perform the operation. That's when you do experiments on white mice. Although they are not human beings, they are still living beings. Your hands will inevitably shake, but the more scared you are, the easier it will be. When something goes wrong, I force myself to calm down. As for performing surgery on people, I have been on the operating table with a teacher before, so I am not that scared. Besides, during the surgery, only the location of the incision is exposed, not the overall view, so it is not that scary. Brother and sister, you are so brave, but I can't, Yu Tao said and took a breath. Just thinking about the bloody knife edge makes me feel cold all over. I really can't imagine that you, who are so weak, can still have such courage. To be honest, when you first wanted to be a doctor, I really didn't think you could persevere. Sister-in-law, have you been waiting for me to back down? No, Yu Tao waved her hands quickly. I'm just worried about you, and I really don't want you to back down. I know, my sister-in-law is so worried, Chu Xia joked with a smile. It seems that my sister-in-law doesn't regard me as a family member. Otherwise, she wouldn't be so eager to explain. Yu Tao smiled and nodded. Okay, I won't explain. Just pretend that we are not a family. Let the younger siblings feel for themselves. That's right, Chu Xia smiled and stretched out her hand to touch her belly. The little guy has finally calmed down. Sister-in-law, do you feel happy now? Yes, Yu Tao nodded. Some time ago, he always tormented me, and when I felt uncomfortable vomiting, I thought, when he is born, I will definitely beat him. But later he stopped tormenting me. I was scared again, worried that something would go wrong with him. Fortunately, Dr. Lu said that he was developing well and healthy. As long as sister-in-law stays in a happy mood, he will be fine anywhere. Chu Xia's words certainly meant something. Some time ago, Yu Tao's younger siblings had a conflict with their parents. It was particularly difficult to do the Taoist crane in the middle. The bad mood affected the fetus, which caused the fetus to vomit violently and make the whole body lose weight. I know. Yu Tao smiled and patted Chu Xia's hand. I have already thought about it. Living together, there is no pot without touching the spoon. I have never thought about it. In the future, I will not be so stupid again. Chu Xia held her hand comfortingly. He expressed support. Speaking of which, she is really blessed. Her parents treated her well at home. When she married into her husband's family also treated her well, although some did not want to see her. But as long as he doesn't hang around her, it won't affect her mood. But Yu Tao compares with her. It's a little bit unsatisfactory. She didn't suffer much from marrying into her husband's family, but her mother's family made it extremely difficult for her. The daughter of an ordinary family. When you marry into a powerful family, you always hope that your daughter will help the family more. Yu Tao is a principled person and never talks to her husband's family randomly, but she will try her best to help her husband's family as much as possible. Just like the last time her mother was hospitalized, she took care of her most of the time. But even so, it is inevitable that her family members still have some opinions about her. They usually don't show it, but they will inevitably say unpleasant things when something happens. After her parents and younger siblings had a conflict, as a junior, of course she tried to persuade her younger siblings to be more considerate of their parents and not to make the elderly angry all the time. Her parents were very grateful to her at the time, but after getting along with her younger brothers and sisters, they became indifferent to her, fearing that her sister-in-law would be angry. The sister-in-law said that although the eldest aunt married well, she didn't really help the family much. Apart from helping to take care of the elderly, what else did she do? Although she could arrange some work for her younger brother, she just watched him work as an ordinary worker in the workshop. This shows that the eldest aunt only has her husband's family in her heart and only her own life. Although her parents excused her, in their hearts, they were more or less influenced by her younger siblings, and she could clearly feel it. For this reason, she felt a little chilled, and then she really concentrated on raising the baby and stopped meddling in her mother's family's business. She didn't go behind her husband's back, so everyone would try to persuade her intentionally or unintentionally. In fact, she had already thought about it during this period, but no one knew it. I'm really thinking about it. For my parents, the closest thing to them is their son. No matter how much trouble they make, they are still close to each other. If I mess with it again, it's just something wrong with my brain. Afraid that Chu Xia wouldn't believe it, Yu Tao emphasized again. Hearing what Yu Tao said, Chu Xia finally felt relieved. After waiting for so many years, he finally got his wish. If something happens, not only Yu Tao himself can't bear it, but also Mr. Zhou and Ms. Zhou, who are lusting after their little grandson. Then, after that, everyone's eyes would be fixed on her belly. Thinking about it, she felt that the pressure made her breathless. It wasn't that she didn't want to have a baby, but that she didn't deliberately prevent pregnancy after getting married. But there has been no movement. What if Yu Tao's situation occurs? Of course, she and Zhou Mikang had physical examinations before they got married, and both of them were fine. However, most of the Zhou family's juniors had a harder time than normal people when it came to fertility issues, so she had to be on guard. In this regard, the Zhou family's elders were "I really can't withstand the blow. Sister-in-law, if you have troubles in your heart from now on, if your elder brother is not at home and it is inconvenient to talk to your elders, just tell me. In short, don't be bored." "Okay, as long as you don't mind me being annoying," Yu Tao said and laughed. "I heard that some pregnant women become more nagging and cry over trivial things as they get to the later stages. What if that's the case, but you will suffer?" "Haha." Chu Xia smiled happily. "I really can't imagine what it feels like for my sister-in-law to be like that." "What are you talking about? You are so happy." Wang Lei came over. She had not said much since she had talked with Chu Xia before. Now she came over on her own initiative, and Chu Xia naturally gave her a step. "Third aunt, come and sit down." "Let's sit down. I'm talking about the interesting things about my sister-in-law's pregnancy." After a while, Zhao Yulan and Lin Yangkaiu, Zhou's old lady Liang Xiaohong, also gathered over, and the whole family talked about Yu Tao's belly. Chu Xia paid attention to Zhao Yulan's expression and could see that she was quite envious. I sighed secretly. Sure enough, all the elders were very persistent on this matter, but speaking of it, my father-in-law and mother-in-law were really nice. Yu Tao had not been pregnant for so many years. Their attitudes towards Tao had not changed, but they had become even more, being intimate. "I believe her mother will be less worried after seeing this, right? Can you chat with me for a few words?" Wang Lei whispered to Chu Xia while no one was paying attention. Chu Xia nodded happily. "Okay. I'll go talk to Xiaomi." Chu Xia held her back and said, "No, he wants to chat with his grandfather, father, second uncle, and third uncle, and he doesn't have time to talk to me. Let's talk about ourselves and don't worry about him." Wang Lei was initially a little hesitant about looking for Zhou Mikang. After hearing what Chu Xia said, he took her back to his room. After closing the door, he smiled apologetically. "I apologize to you first. My attitude at that time not good enough." "Third aunt, you are out again." Clearly feeling the distance in Chu Xia's smile, Wang Lei said quickly, No, I really feel that I am quite immature. For a short while, I blamed you and Xiaomi. But thinking about it later, I should thank you. If I had been putting up with that woman, my brother would have been tortured to death by her. This way, I could let him understand earlier and make a decision earlier. To tell you the truth, my brother was a coward when he was young. Otherwise, I would not have taken Xiaojing with me by force. Either he didn't care for Xiaojing, or he was always looking forward and backward. On the contrary, he did everything wrong in the end. People. This time, he figured it out after I told him about it. However, I didn't expect that the woman would use such vicious methods. Hey, you don't know. People like us always think that getting married can make us happy. Once you've been together, don't separate. Whether it's for yourself or your children, you just want to make do with it. But just now I thought about it, no matter how I improvise, it will end up killing someone, and if I continue to improvise, I am irresponsible to myself and my children. Xiaojing looks indifferent, but actually she longs for family affection. When I was with her when she was little, she would often wake up crying from her dreams in the middle of the night. She not only missed her mother, but also missed her father, but she was unwilling to admit it when she woke up. That's all. Otherwise, it would be impossible for her to really rush over to take care of my brother when he is sick this time. Think about the two daughters that woman brought with her, and their biological son, who would have taken care of my brother. In early summer, I said this from the bottom of my heart. I really feel that after living for so many years, I still don't understand it as well as you and Xiaomi. Thank you for your prompt decision. Thank you for saving Xiaojing and my brother. Chu Xia sighed, third aunt, I accept the love you said. From now on, please don't talk about thanking me anymore, okay? Okay, Wang Lei nodded solemnly, and no matter what kind of punishment Wang Jun gets, it is all deserved, and I will not have a single complaint. It depends on him. Chu Xia spread his hands. Because of third aunt and senior sister, I gave him a chance, but if he insists on setting a trap for himself, I have no choice. Third aunt, human character is like this, knowing that the other person wants to harm me, I can't possibly pity the other person. Whether it's for your family or for yourself, you must keep yourself safe. If you want to be safe, you must be in a cradle state where all dangers are stifled. Chu Xia, I agree with you doing this, but Wang Jing and I are short of this courage, otherwise, we wouldn't be led by those people. Chu Xia breathed a sigh of relief. Third aunt said this, I feel relieved. Wang Lei looked apologetic, you were originally helping us, but you still worried about us. I'm really sorry. Seeing Chu Xia pouting, she quickly said, but I won't thank you. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 537. The third update is here. I've worked so hard, so give me a thumbs up. Third aunt apologized to you, Zhou Mikang asked Chu Xia after returning to the room in the evening. Chu Xia nodded, yes, she said she figured it out and thought we did the right thing. She also said that no matter what kind of punishment Wang Jun received, she would not blame us. Well, I can still carry it clearly. I'm worried that the third uncle has found someone who can't tell the difference between good and bad. Zhou Mikang picked up his little wife and said, I'll help you take a bath. No, I'll do it myself, Chu Xia was so frightened that she struggled hard, I'm sorry to be so stingy. I'm just joking, why do you take it seriously? It's not okay if you don't take it seriously. You have assigned the fifth girl to me. If I don't take it seriously, will it be replaced by the 10th girl next time? Aren't you just curious? By the way. Chu Xia stared at Zhou Mikang with bright eyes, what did you do before? Do you dare to say that you have never used fifth girl? It seems that you are expecting me to take care of you. As he spoke, Zhou Mikang closed the bathroom door and neatly took off Chu Xia's clothes. Don't run away, otherwise you will regret it. Who's planning to run away? Chu Xia curled her lips at her, it's not like you're an unmarried little girl. Who are you afraid of? It's just a Mandarin duck bath. What's the big deal? Zhou Mikang has become accustomed to someone being bold and not following the routine, so he followed her words and said, you said it yourself, don't regret it. Besides the sentence, can you say something new and innovative? He looked at the leader's tube, which was completely exhausted. Chu Xia boldly took a look and got into the bathtub with fear. The water has just been filled halfway. She felt a little embarrassed lying down, so she turned over and lay on her stomach. The corners of Zhou Mikang's lips curled up, are you trying to imitate a turtle? Yeah, if I were to imitate a turtle, what would you be? Zhou Mikang. Why is he the one who suffers when we quarrel? But when he saw the skin as delicate as gelatin, he felt that it was okay to suffer a little loss. When Chu Xia returned to bed, she was exhausted, but she still gritted her teeth and refused to admit defeat, waiting for the other party to get serious. She was frightened, it won't happen, if it happens again, I won't be able to get up tomorrow. It doesn't matter if I am laughed at. The main thing is that it will be bad if you are hated by my parents. It's okay, my father-in-law and mother-in-law won't hate me, they also look forward to having their grandson soon. Zhou Mikang continued to roam her body with his big hands, in order not to disappoint my father-in-law and mother-in-law. I should try harder too. Only when the water flows slowly can you always have water to drink. If you hurt me by drinking, you will be thirsty all the time in the future. How pitiful that would be. It won't hurt if you drink it. I was wrong. I was wrong. I won't be harsh. Please spare me. Chu Xia looked at him pitifully. No more talking about it. What a mistake. What a mistake. Chu Xia nodded her little head vigorously. It's more real than real gold. Hey. You make me feel guilty. Zhou Mikang pulled the quilt up to wrap her up and held her in his arms. I'm just teasing you. I'm going to scare you. I don't believe it. Chu Xia muttered in a low voice, you can make me look like that if you tease me. Do you think I'm a fool? Say what? Chu Xia quickly shook her head, I didn't say anything. I said I know you must be teasing me. You care about me so much, how can you let me be sad, right? What nonsense are you talking about? Why are you sad? Zhou Mikang groaned in displeasure, didn't you say you have me in your heart? Why are you still sad when you have me? If you don't cherish me, can I not be sad? Chu Xia rolled her eyes at him, just because you are in my heart doesn't mean that I will happily accept whatever you do. Then you still have nothing to do to light a fire. Zhou Mikang's face suddenly came in front of hers, don't blame me for not reminding you, a man's body can't stand being teased. If you're afraid, don't always play with fire. Chu Xia looked at him with contempt, do you mean that if other women tease you, you can't control it? What are you thinking about in your little head all day long? Zhou Mikang poked her head angrily, it's not like you don't know my character. If you say such things again, I'll get angry. Are you confessing your love to me? Chu Xia's big, bright eyes were filled with joy. Zhou Mikang, I discovered that you are the coquettish type. Zhou Mikang had a black line, can we say something decent? Isn't what I said decent? Chu Xia looked at him innocently, what I said is basically the truth. You have to let me tell the truth. This is wrong. Okay, go to bed quickly. Zhou Mikang turned her over and held her in his arms, patting her gently, I have to go to work tomorrow, so stop making trouble. Who made trouble with you? Chu Xia rolled her eyes secretly, it wasn't her who was tormenting people, it was him, okay. By the way, have you talked to Jun Daodu's parents? Chu Xia suddenly thought of this question, turned over quickly, and stared at him seriously, Zhou Hanliang will be back tomorrow. Well, Lieutenant Jun said that his wife actually misses Jun Daodu, but she can't bear to beg her daughter, but Jun Daodu is stubborn and refuses to go home. Lieutenant Jun's wife is trying to get angry with her daughter. Meaning, in fact, I cried a lot behind my back. You advise Jun Daodu, no matter what, they are her biological parents. At this age, her personality has been basically fixed and it is impossible to change. Then she can only be a junior and give some face to her elders. There are steps down. Okay, I'll talk to her tomorrow. Chu Xia turned over with confidence, and after a while, her breathing became even. A night of silence. After going to work the next day, Chu Xia found Jun Daodu and told her about Zhou Mikang's visit to her father, and also detailed Jun's mother's attitude. Thank you, Shuxia. Jun Daodu sighed, thank you for being so thoughtful, but I have thought about it. It will definitely be unpleasant if I go back to celebrate the new year. Why not, just stay at my adoptive father and mother's house to celebrate the new year. Between them and me, there is no difference. I'm closer to my mom. What about your dad? And Kyokuo, didn't you say that you love Kyokuo very much? Chu Xia continued to persuade, Zhou Mikang is right, your mother's personality is impossible to change, so you can try if you work hard, you can make her accept that you and Zhou Hanliang are together, then the subsequent marriage discussions will go smoothly. Daodu, I didn't want to advise you at first, but your unhappiness during this period is written all over your face, and the word homesick is almost engraved on your forehead. Don't make it difficult for yourself, just follow your own heart. Am I so obvious? June Daodu's eyes widened. Are you telling the truth? You're not kidding me, are you? Is it fun to tease you? Chu Xia rolled her eyes at her. Do you think you're having fun? Stop looking up to yourself. Okay, I've told you. Make your own decision. I'll go back and get busy. He waved his hand at the other party and trotted away. June Daodu was confused all morning. What's wrong? Lu Meijun saw her discomfort and asked. After thinking about it, June Daodu told the other party her dilemma. Actually, I mainly miss Kuakuo, my father, and maybe my mother only a little bit. However, if I want to go back like this, my mother must feel that she has won over me, and it will be even more difficult to resist her in the future. If I don't go back, it doesn't seem to be justified for the Chinese New Year. Moreover, it would be difficult for them to stay at my adoptive father's house for the New Year. During this period, they have been urging me to go home. I know that they are afraid that my mother will be angry and embarrass them. But with my dad here, my mom shouldn't dare to do anything to them. It's just that I don't feel comfortable when they are so frightened. Meijun, I really envy you. Your parents are so kind to you and think about everything for you. Why can't my mother do the same? After thinking for a while, Lu Meijun also sighed. Chu Xia is right, parents can't choose. You should try hard, otherwise, you will regret it in the future. You think so too? Yeah, Lu Meijun nodded. I really think what she said makes sense. You just can't let go of face now. In fact, if you think so, why do you need so much face in front of your parents? In the past, they had no choice but to put you in foster care with your adoptive parents. Don't blame them. Open your heart and accept them. You will be much happier. You are almost becoming a philosopher. June Daodu smiled and shook his head. If you have ever gotten along with my mother, you will understand why I am so entangled. Forget it, I decided to listen to you and try my best. Anyway, Captain Joe said hello to my dad, and my dad should have also advised my mom, or maybe the result was unexpected. That's right. Lu Meijun glanced at the time. It's time to get off work. Come over and have lunch with Chu Xia and Xiao Kaiyan. Okay, I'll send the order back and come back to you later, June Daodu said as she ran to the office. One look at her footsteps and it was clear that she was in a very good mood. Lu Meijun shook her head in a funny way. People always make themselves unhappy. They clearly care about their family, but they don't go back just to save face. Who suffers in the end? Chu Xia was also very happy to learn that June Daodu had thought things through, so he teased her with a smile. Maybe, as soon as Daodu was happy, she would have agreed to your marriage years ago. It can't be that fast. June Daodu slapped her in the face with a red face. The Chinese New Year will be in 5 days, and it's too late. As long as you are determined, you will definitely make it in time, Chu Xia said as she stood up. Which one of you will go to the bathroom? Me. Lu Meijun stood up and said, I'm so full, so I just want to take a walk. When the two of them left the office and went down the stairs, they saw Wang Jun coming towards them angrily. When he saw Chu Xia, he rushed up to him yelling, Bitch, I will let you taste the taste of nosy today. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 538. One update arrived. Chu Xia. Lu Meijun held Chu Xia's hand, trembling all over. If it wasn't for the pain from pinching her body, she really felt like she was dreaming just now. I'm sorry, I scared you. Chu Xia looked at her apologetically. If she had known that Wang Jun was coming for her now, she would not have dragged her along. After her emotions calmed down, Lu Meijun looked around to see if no one was paying attention, pulled Chu Xia to a secluded place, and said solemnly, I promise, I won't tell anyone. It's okay. Chu Xia was amused by her expression. Actually, This man is my senior sister's half-brother. For her own benefit, she wants her senior sister to marry a man who is nearly 20 years older than her. If the senior sister disagreed, he would threaten me in various ways. I was there when he came to trouble the senior sister that day, and the way he looked at me was not right at that time. I was afraid that something might happen, so I told Joe Mikang. Therefore, someone has been secretly protecting me these past few days. Now that I have caught him, I will be safe. No. No need to keep it a secret. Thinking of the thrilling scene just now, Lu Meijun was still frightened. Seeing the man holding a knife and about to stab Chu Xia, she was immediately frightened. She wanted to help, but she couldn't move. Go, just when the knife was about to pierce Chu Xia, a man jumped upstairs and kicked the man holding the knife downstairs. At the same time, Chu Xia quickly pulled her upstairs. I believe until now, no one knows that the chaos below is related to them. The whole process only lasted about a minute, full of fear and frustration. Annoyance and surprise appeared alternately in such a short period of time. It made her feel exhausted. There's no need to keep it a secret. I'll pull you away. I just don't want others to think too much. Chu Xia smiled helplessly. You also know that I am standing on the cusp of the storm now. It is better to have less to worry about than to have more to worry about. Yes, if everyone sees it, they don't know what they made up, and they can't explain it one by one. Alas, it's so good and tiring. Lu Meijun looked at her sincerely. I was really envious of you these days. Really, the medical team that I joined with you saw that you were able to go to the operating table independently, but I, even the third assistant, only did it once, so I felt like a failure. If I didn't know how hard you work and your character, maybe I would be like others. I feel like you are extremely lucky and have met so many people who appreciate you, so you have these opportunities. In fact, if you think about it carefully, if you don't have the ability. So what if I'm given a chance? Just like me, if I were allowed to operate independently now, I would be paralyzed with fear. Those who only know blind jealousy. People who don't know how to find their own reasons. Perhaps he will never become a truly lovable doctor in this life. Early summer, I want to learn from you. Please help me from now on, okay? If she had just come to this era, Chu Xia would have felt awkward hearing such words, but now, she cherishes them very much. We were originally study partners, but when one of them stood out, the others would definitely feel uncomfortable. This is when the alienation of many friends started. Just like when she goes to class now, the medical team is proud of her. That was also in a large group. In fact, in private, how many of them are really convinced by her? Except for Luo Xiaoxian, everyone around her would probably be a little disapproving. Even if they were not jealous, they would still feel that if the opportunity was given to them, they might not do worse than her. Therefore, if Lu Meijun had no idea before, it would be wrong. It is true that keeping people closer depends on secrets. Before that, Lu Meijun had the best relationship with her and Luo Xiaoxian. Later, after Jun Daodu and Lu Meijun became a teacher, their relationship became better. It's just that this kind of good will last when they are together, and will gradually fade from strong to weak when they are separated. But now, maybe her relationship with Lu Meijun will enter a new stage. In Lu Meijun's view, after the two of them experienced such a thrilling experience and were the first to know the secret that others didn't know, they would naturally become closer to her from the bottom of their hearts. Moreover, Lu Meijun's personality is not that chicken-hearted. If you really let go of your guard, it will be very comfortable to get along with her. With this in mind, Chu Xia pulled Lu Meijun affectionately. We help each other and supervise each other. You also have advantages that I don't have, such as being careful and cautious. This is what I want to learn from you. Don't you think I'm old-fashioned? Lu Meijun smiled sheepishly. Daodu said that I always like to be rigid in doing things, which makes people anxious, but I think that whether it's a doctor or a nurse, of course it's better to be careful. After all, my hands are what's at stake is human life, right? Yes, Chusia nodded, pulled her and ran, hurry to the toilet, I'm suffocated. Yeah, how could I forget this? The two came back from the toilet. The downstairs had returned to calm. When they returned to the office, Luo Xiaoxian looked at the two of them. What took you so long? Are you okay? A little bit. Chusia looked at Wang Jing. Senior sister, Wang Jun is here, and he is probably taken away now. Wang Jing stood up with a whoosh and looked her up and down. Did that bastard hurt you? Meijun, what about you? Lu Meijun quickly waved her hands. It's okay, we're all fine. What's wrong? Jun Daodu looked at the others curiously. Sister Jing's brother has fallen in love with the beauty Lin. TCH, if you fall in love with me, you can take a knife and stab me to death. Chusia rolled her eyes. You imagine me to be too charming. Get a knife. Luo Xiaoxian rolled up her sleeves bitterly. Asshole. I just heard outside that someone was taken away, and I didn't think much about it. If I knew it was him, I would go out and slap him to death. What's going on? Jun Daodu's face also became solemn. Among them, she was actually the closest to Chusia. Even though she was with Lu Meijun every day, because of the relationship between Zhou Hanliang and Zhou Mixang, she felt uneasy in her heart. The closest person is still Chusia. I was the one who caused Chusia's trouble. When that bastard Wang Jun came here last time, I told him that I was influenced by Chusia. I didn't expect that he would hold a grudge against Chusia. Wang Jing he looked at Chusia with an apologetic face. If something happens to you, I won't be able to explain it to Captain Zhou even if I die. Okay, I'm fine, so don't make these assumptions. Chuxia smiled and changed the topic. The soldiers who went on the mission today are back. Xiaoxian and Daodu, you two don't need to go in advance. Are you ready? What are you preparing for? Luo Xiaoxian shook her hair exaggeratedly. I don't want to dress up deliberately. If he doesn't like me like this, he should have done so early and worry less. Really? Chusia smirked. Are you sure? Of course. After a pause, Luo Xiaoxian was so angry that she grabbed Chusia. You bastard, you set a trap for me. You just want to whisper to senior sister. I'll just leave. Okay, stop making excuses. You've been looking forward to it for so long. Go back and tidy up and dress up. This is not intentional, it's out of respect. What's there to be embarrassed about? After being exposed by Chusia, Luo Xiaoxian blushed, stamped her feet, and ran out. I'm going to coax her. Jun Daodu ran out immediately after. You can really pretend. Chusia smiled helplessly. I'm obviously very worried. Yes, you are still here to give me cold water. I'll help them. Lu Meijun stood up with a smile. These two confused guys may not be able to find any clothes. Meijun, I really didn't mean to drive them away. Chusia smiled and grabbed her. The team will arrive at around 10 in the morning, and they will probably have a holiday after lunch. They both know this. You have to understand why you want to see your lover in the best form after being apart for so long. Why did you keep looking at the time when you didn't see them? I guess if we didn't come back just now, both of them would be anxious. Well, I'll testify to this. Wang Jing couldn't help laughing. If you don't tell me, I really didn't think much about it. They were really a little uneasy before. I thought they heard something happened outside and looked anxiously. It's lively. Haha, senior sister's guess is quite consistent with their personalities, but I guess they really don't want to watch the fun today. When your brother attacked Chusia just now, Chusia and I happened to be together. Lu Meijun took the initiative to bring up the previous topic. Well, he was spoiled by my father and his stepmother, and his grandparents also doted on him. If he didn't learn well since he was a child, and no one took care of him, wouldn't he just become a bastard? Wang Jing sighed and looked at Chu Xia. I plan to go back today and take a look. If my dad is left alone, I will take him to the small house where my aunt and I used to live, and I will take care of him. Originally, I was quite angry with him, but yesterday I learned about his hardships over the years and that he had stopped that woman from harming me. And looking at what he is like now, I can't ignore what happened to him. Have you discussed it with your aunt? Not yet. Wang Jing shook her head. I haven't met my aunt yet, but I think she will agree. Ye Chu Xia nodded. I also think she would agree. She talked to me yesterday. It seemed that she felt sorry for your dad. However, she couldn't make the decision and could only act in a hurry. Yeah, besides, whenever she mentioned my dad before, I would get angry with her. Between me and my dad, she would definitely turn on me. After all, I am a child without a mother. Just as he was talking, the door opened and Wang Lei came in hurriedly. Xiao Jing, please take a leave and come with me to take your dad home in the afternoon, otherwise, he will be tortured to death by that woman. Wang Jing stood up in confusion. Sister-in-law, have you seen my dad? No, it was Li Dajin who informed me. He called the factory. Wang Lei smiled apologetically at Chu Xia. Chu Xia, time is urgent. Please ask for leave from Song Xiao. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 539. Second update arrived. When he asked Li Dajin to cooperate with the operation, Zhou Mikang left Wang Lei's phone number with him and asked him to notify Wang Lei as soon as possible if anything happened. Therefore, he would inform Wang Lei, and Chu Xia would not be surprised at all. But Wang Jing didn't know about this, so she looked at Wang Lei worriedly. Sister-in-law, how come Li Dajin has your phone number? Isn't he still determined? Ah, Wang Lei was stunned. I really haven't thought about it, but don't worry about it now and take your dad back. If Li Dajin really has something on his mind, I won't let him get his wish. Do not worry. Chu Xia hurriedly said. Third aunt, senior sister, the phone number was left to him by Zhou Mikang. I forgot to tell you. Wang Jing breathed a long sigh of relief. That's good, that's good. I'm really a little confused now, and I will associate bad things with every little thing. Wang Lei sighed and looked at her niece apologetically. It's my fault. Sister-in-law, why are you taking responsibility for yourself again? Wang Jing looked helpless. I'm an adult and can't always live under my sister-in-law's protection. Besides, Wang Jun, Wang Nan and the others could be so bad, let alone my sister-in-law. Even I, who had always hated them, never thought that after this experience, everyone would be less worried in the future. Yeah, I won't worry about it in the future. I'm just afraid that your dad will still be soft-hearted. Hey, Wang Jing also sighed, with a sad look on her face. Things haven't happened yet, why are you so worried here? Chu Xia looked at the aunt and nephew speechlessly. After you take Uncle Wang home, why don't you have a good talk with him? He's neither crazy nor stupid. It's not like he doesn't know who is good to him and who is not good to him. Wang Jing sighed again. Chu Xia, we will definitely talk to my dad after we go back. However, others can say that, mainly Wang Jun, he loves him so much and regards him as his lifeblood, even if Wang Jun's current behavior makes he was heartbroken, but as soon as Wang Jun begged him, he would definitely lose all his anger. What my sister-in-law and I are worried about is Wang Jun's change of strategy. When the time comes, will we care about my dad or not? Leave him alone. I feel uncomfortable seeing him suffer. Leave him alone, but I don't want Wang Jun to take advantage of him. Hey. Then what's the use of worrying now? It's no use. Then it's over. If you don't help Uncle Wang now, you will feel uneasy and guilty. Then just do what you want. As for what happens in the future, whether it's family, friends, or lovers, the depth of fate is different. It cannot be forced. Hearing what Chuxia said, Wang Lei couldn't help but laugh. At such a young age, what I said is quite similar. But it makes sense. I listen to you and don't think too much. Do the things in front of you first. Let's talk later. That's right. Chuxia waved her paws at the two of them. Go quickly. After Wang Jing and Wang Lei left, Lu Meijun looked at Chuxia with admiration. I really can't tell that you have a philosophy of life. If it were me, I wouldn't persuade people like this. What kind of philosophy of life? They are fans of the authorities. As for me, I have nothing to do with those people, so of course I can see the problem clearly. As for you, it's because you don't know what those people are doing. Otherwise, you would also say this about me. Words. I can't tell. Lu Meijun shook her head honestly. I still know how much I weigh. Anyway, after getting along with you for a long time, I found that you are different from us in many ways. Sometimes, you are more childish than us, but sometimes, you seem to know more than us, and I can't tell which one is the real you. Human beings are a complex of contradictions. This is the real me. There are things I'm good at and things I'm not good at. Looking at the time, Chuxia pulled Lu Meijun. There's still a quarter of an hour before work time. We two go to the dormitory and see what those two guys are doing. Good. The two hit it off and ran to the dormitory. When they reached the door, they walked softly and secretly peeked in through the crack in the door. Luo Xiaoqing and Jun Daodu were each holding a small mirror and shaving their eyebrows carefully. In this day and age, no one wears makeup except for performing on stage, so what you can do is wash your shirt clean, turn your collar inside out, put some oil on your hair, trim your eyebrows, etc. As for lipstick, don't say bad. Buy it. Even if you buy it, no one dares to wipe it. If you are caught, you will have to write it off. Of course, talking about the turn-down collar is also impossible for military doctors. When they go to work, they have to wear a white coat over their military uniform. When they are not at work, they cannot turn their shirt collars out when they are wearing military uniforms. Therefore, they can. The only thing that bothers me is my hair except my eyebrows. After peeking outside for a while, Chuxia pushed the door open. Wow, the mirror in Jun Daodu's hand fell to the ground and immediately broke into many small pieces. She unconsciously covered her chest and glared at Chuxia fiercely. I hate it, it scared me to death. Haha, you're not doing anything wrong, what are you afraid of? Chuxia stepped forward to look her over, and took the tweezers from her hand. I'll do it for you, okay? Make it nice for me. Okay, Chuxia teased while plucking her eyebrows. Didn't you say you don't want to dress up? What are you two doing? Is there anyone like you? Luo Xiaoqing glanced at her. You said that out of respect, we should also dress up to welcome their arrival, and now they are laughing at us. What's the intention? Expose your duplicity. Chuxia chuckled. You are not an outsider, do you need to pretend? If you two haven't seen each other for so long, it would be really abnormal for you two to allow yourselves to meet your lover in a disheveled manner. Luo Xiaoqing pointed at her. Remember what you said, you and Zhou Mikang will also see each other separately for a long time. I'll see what you do then. Chuxia acted in an old-fashioned way. Comrade, you have to know that there is a difference between being married and not being married. Luo Xiaoqing curled her lips and hit back at her. Comrade, don't forget, you are 1 year younger than me. This has nothing to do with age. My heart is more mature than yours, Chuxia said, reaching out and grabbing the mirror from Luo Xiaoqing's hand and handing it to Jun Daodu. Take a look, are you satisfied? The perfectly curved crescent eyebrows made the whole person more soft and cute. Jun Daodu gave her a thumbs up. Yes, because you have made me beautiful. I don't want you to accompany me with a small mirror. Come here and fix it for me. Luo Xiaoqing handed the tweezers in her hand to Chuxia. If you don't make me more beautiful than Daodu, I won't be good friends with you. Chu Xia took the tweezers, looked at her, and then at Jun Daodu. If I had the ability to make you prettier than Daodu, I might as well become a plastic surgeon. I hate it. Luo Xiaoxian was so angry that she pushed her, but Chu Xia just put the tweezers on her eyebrows, and her eyelids were pinched, and blood oozed out quickly. Jun Daodu shouted anxiously, "It's over, it's over. Not only is it not beautiful now, it's also disfigured." Chu Xia had quickly found disinfectant cotton, wiped it on her lightly, put some white medicine on it, and sighed, "Xiaoxian, this is a lesson. In the future, when you let others trim your eyebrows or pick out your ears, you must not be reckless. You've disfigured a person's face and you're still making sarcastic remarks here." Luo Xiaoxian shed tears while looking in the mirror. How can you see anyone with such a dead look? It's just a little bit of skin. It will be fine in 2 or 3 days. Chu Xia also felt guilty, but it was useless to apologize at this moment, so she comforted him. "When my brother came, I took the initiative to admit my mistake. Also, I'll give you my favorite badge, okay?" "What did you say?" Luo Xiaoxian burst into tears and smiled. Don't go back on your word. She had been in love with Chu Xia's jade badge for a long time, but something else was so generous to her. Chu Xia refused to give it to her, so now she will use it. A small wound is exchanged for a big badge. It's so worth it. I said I won't go back on my word. Chu Xia felt heartbroken. She finally found such a jade medal, which would be worth a sky-high price in the future. Of course, she didn't plan to sell it after it. She just really liked it and wanted to keep it forever. "I kept it as a souvenir. This is great. I lost it with a pair of tweezers." Jun Daodu looked at Luo Xiaoxian, who was grinning from the corner of her mouth to her ears, with disdain. "This guy is so thoughtful. I definitely doubt that she did it on purpose just now. You're so mean-spirited. How dare I do it on purpose? What if my eyeballs are smashed out?" Luo Xiaoxian rolled her eyes and resisted. "If you ask me to break your skin, I'll give you the badge." "Okay, come on, let me pinch you," Jun Daodu said, leaning his head in front of her. "Whoever regrets it will be a puppy. You really have a brain problem, okay? Who asked others to hurt themselves?" Luo Xiaoxian stepped back in fright. "I dare not, even if you want me to. Zhou Hanliang just found out and shot me. What should I do?" "He won't, I promise. You can do it. It's time to go to work. Let's go." Forced to do nothing, Luo Xiaoxian ran away. Jun Daodu raised her eyebrows proudly. "Be like a bear, play hard with me, it's a little too tender. When I was a child, I saw something I wanted to eat, but I would rather burn the skin than swallow it." Early summer. Lu Meijun. Seeing the speechless expressions of the two of them, Jun Daodu smiled sheepishly and apologized. "Hey, don't use that expression. I was young at that time, about years old. Later, I became less greedy." Nothing happened in the afternoon, so Chu Xia went to the ward where the man who operated on him lived. The man could already get out of bed and move around slightly. When he saw her, he felt a little embarrassed. The woman glared at the man and greeted him affectionately. "Dr. Xiaolin, thank you. My man's incision heals very quickly, and all the patients are envious of it." The young girl who was accompanying him on the bed agreed. "Yes, my dad had the same surgery. He did it earlier than Uncle Wang. He still can't get out of bed. If I had known earlier, I would have come to see you. First marriage then love. Mr. Mayor, please be kind." Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 540. After the young girl finished speaking, the old man lying on the bed hummed in agreement, and the girl sighed. "Dad, does it hurt again? Alas, I will never trust experts again." "How can I be an expert? It's a scam." "How are you talking?" Jiao Maiken walked in and looked at the girl with a gloomy face. "Everyone's physique is different. How old is your dad and how big is the third bed?" My dad is 52, and Uncle Wang, who lives in 3 beds, is 48. Is there a big difference? Seeing her father suffer, the girl felt extremely distressed, and naturally she was not polite in her words. Are the physiques the same? Jiao Mikan snorted coldly, turned around and walked out. You yourself asked Director Huang to perform the surgery, and now you are complaining and shameless. Who are you saying is shameless? The girl rushed out angrily and grabbed Jiao Mikan. It's obvious that your skills are not good, but why don't you tell me that you are shameless? Open. Apologize. I let you go. I asked you to apologize. As they talked, the two started fighting. As the only medical staff, Chu Xia certainly couldn't stand inside and watch the excitement. However, she knew very well that if she went up to persuade Jiao Mikan, she would definitely beat her up. Such people are real. If she can't help, what should she do? Chu Xia moved towards the door while thinking about it. Seeing the girl pulling Jiao Mikan's hair to gain the upper hand, Chu Xia moved even slower. I'm sorry, that's the kind of person she is. Since she has nothing to do to find fault with her, she has to do it. Be prepared for retaliation at critical moments. Of course, we still need to help, but it's okay to pull off a few more strands of hair and try again. Who stipulated that she should rush forward like a female man? Don't fight anymore. The patients still need to rest, Chu Xia said while reaching out to pull Jiao Mikan. Sister Jiao, do you want to be expelled from the hospital? Sure enough, after hearing what she said, the movements of Jiao Mikan's hands obviously slowed down. The girl hesitated, then simply took a step back and stopped, muttering, if it weren't for Dr. Xiaolin's sake, I wouldn't be here today. See if I don't beat you to death. You're obviously not good at medical skills. What the hell are you still pretending to be a big-tailed wolf here? Wiping the blood from the corner of her mouth, Jiao Mikan looked at the girl hatefully. What do you do? Why are you so cruel? The girl glanced at her sideways, playing volleyball. My daughter is on the national volleyball team. The voice of the uncle lying on the bed was full of pride, and he sighed heavily. Her mother is not in good health, so I can only let her take care of me, which delays the child's training. Alas! Wang Chunja? This name suddenly flashed into Chu Xia's mind, just 4 years later. The Chinese girls' volleyball team will shine, and several players will become household names, and she is paying attention to this. It's because her grandfather liked it and always told her stories about the female volleyball players of that era, of course. The main purpose is to motivate her, but it is partial. Her favorite is a little-known female general, Wang Chunja. Grandpa said that this female player can be called a 1,000-year substitute. Every time it was her turn, she was always held back by this and that thing, and the so-called this and that thing was children who took care of their parents and were filial to the point of not seeking fame and wealth. Chu Xia liked it, so, she remembered Wang Chunja, the kind and filial child, but she did not expect that he had such a fiery personality. She felt particularly happy when she took one look at the 2 cotton balls stuffed in Jiao Mikan's nostrils. I also like to play volleyball, but unfortunately I am not tall enough and my physical strength is not good enough. What is my sister's name? When asking this question, Chu Xia asked with a mentality of paying tribute to her idol. Wang Chunja, I was born in spring. My parents hope that I can be an outstanding talent. Wang Chunja smiled sheepishly. I didn't expect that. Except for my height, I am not good at anything else. Sister Wang is too modest. If you weren't outstanding, how could you have made it to the national team? Chu Xia said, dragging her inside. When I'm not at work, I can go watch Sister Wang play volleyball, okay? I want to ask the coach about this. Wang Chunja looked embarrassed. I usually take a lot of leave, and I don't like the coach very much. I don't dare to take people around. I'm sorry, I'm too useless. Haha. Chu Xia laughed. I am joking with you, but are you serious? If anyone can join the national team, then there will be no chaos. Sister Wang, when you participate in the World Cup, I will definitely go to the scene to cheer you on. When the time comes, you can't pretend you don't know me. Well, she just found a familiar feeling and wanted to get close to the other person. If she has the opportunity to meet that group of people in the future, she will feel closer to her grandfather. No matter how many years they stay, no matter how deep her relationship with Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe is, half of the place in her heart will always be occupied by relatives who truly belong to her. You idiot, she snorted coldly, and left with a mutter, not knowing who she was scolding. Why is this person like this? Wang Chunjia sighed. Director Huang is my teammate's uncle. She told me that her uncle was very skilled. He said hello to me and asked me to just come to him directly. I thought that what she said must be true. I didn't even ask, so I took my dad to see Director Huang. I didn't expect that it would end up like this. In the past few days, the coach has taken everyone out to practice, and I can only wait in the hospital. If this continues, I may not have the chance to participate in the competition. It's all me that has dragged you down. Father Wang, who was lying on the bed, looked remorseful. If I had known better, I would not have done the surgery. It wouldn't be too much of a hindrance anyway. How could it not be a big hindrance? Wang Chunjia frowned. Do you think Mom didn't notice? Dad is often in pain at night and can't sleep. Dad, have you ever thought about it? If you hadn't told me earlier, it would definitely be better to have the surgery when it was still growing than to have the surgery now. Usually when I'm not at home, my dad takes care of my mom. If something goes wrong with my dad, what will my mom do? You always tell me to practice hard and become a useful person, but you don't cherish yourself so much, which is basically a disguised form of not cherishing me. Father Wang muttered and was speechless. He really wanted to avoid dragging his daughter down, but he never thought that he would be a bigger drag in the end. It seems that you really can't let acquaintances introduce you to this kind of medical treatment. Uncle Wang, who had done the surgery in early summer, had gone out for a walk and came back. He looked sympathetically at Wang's father, who was still lying on the bed. Brother, if you get sick in the future, please contact me. I came to see Dr. Xiaolin. Despite her young age, her skills are really good. I was awake all the time during the surgery. I heard the director praise Dr. Xiaolin. There is also a famous doctor in Beijing, also named Huang. Our Dr. Xiaolin is also missing. If it weren't for that Dr. Huang in Beijing, when I heard my teammates talking about this Dr. Huang, I wouldn't have come here without even asking about him. I was really confused at the time, thinking that since they all had the surname Huang, their skills should be pretty good, but actually, it had nothing to do with their surnames. It's no wonder that people always say that I have a simple mind and strong limbs. In fact, sometimes that's really the case. Did you say that about yourself? Chu Xia had a dark look, said a few words to everyone, then left the ward and returned to the office. She was very excited, but no one could share this feeling. She needed to sit down, calm down, and enjoy her own happy time. It's a pity that she wanted to be happy, but some people didn't want her to be happy. Yamiru followed Dr. Huang and walked over, followed by an angry Jiao Maiken. Chu Xia is really going to kneel down. This man didn't do the surgery well. Is he going to ask for punishment? Patients in this era are really easy to talk to. If he had complained in future generations, he would have been laid off long ago. I heard that you feel better about yourself than Director Huang. Yamiru rolled her eyes at her when they were in the wrong body. Lin Chuxia, did you have a minor operation and no longer know who you are? As for Director Huang, he didn't even look at her. Since his plan to marry Wang Jing failed, he has hated Chu Xia. In his logic, it seems that Chu Xia was responsible for his failure to marry Wang Jing. Thinking about Wang Chunjia's future, Chu Xia trotted to the dean's office. She couldn't solve this problem, so of course she had to go to the big boss. Dr. Xiaolin, you seem to be a very busy man. He feels windy when he walks. Seeing her running into the office in a hurry, Dean Su teased her with a smile. Dean, I can't wait to be in a hurry. Chu Xia briefly reported Director Wang's matter to Dean Su. Playing the piano randomly, Dean Su stood up. Old Wang, such a small operation can make the patient lie in bed for several days. If it is a major operation, the patient must not stay in the hospital from now on. Luo Xiaoxian came in with a pile of materials. Seeing the dean and Chu Xia walking out in a hurry, she asked anxiously, what happened? Dean Su stopped and said, Dean Feng will be here in about 10 minutes. You wait for him here and tell him that I have something to do and will be here soon. Dean, is the new dean coming today? Chu Xia asked on the way to the ward. Yes, come here today and meet me and have a chat. I will cooperate with his work for a period of time. After the new year, I won't come to work here. After saying that, Dean Su sighed. After working here for so many years, I really can't bear the thought of leaving. I can't bear to leave you either, Chu Xia said with a nasal voice. If you leave, who will support me? Haha. Dean Su laughed because of her. Didn't you say it yourself? Who can support you is not as important as your ability to support yourself. In early summer, don't make me wait for the day when you become a famous doctor. It's been too long, and I'm almost 50. I strive to become a famous doctor when you are 55 years old, and when you are 90 years old, I will be able to become your healthcare doctor. Then you have to work hard. Dean Su smiled. I will definitely work hard to live longer and wait for you to be my health doctor. One update arrived. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 541. Second update arrived. When Chu Xia and Dean Su arrived at the ward, Director Huang was holding Wang's father's hand and apologizing guiltily. Jiao Maikan and Yamiru beside him also followed suit, as if an alarm clock had been set. Dean Su stood at the moment of pause. Director Huang also turned his head. Dean, have you been alarmed? Obviously, this was said to Chu Xia, who thought she was going to file a complaint. How could Chu Xia not understand that she had fallen into the trap of the other party? Damn it, is she such a cunt? Let these bastards figure out her character clearly. Dean Su nodded with a smile. Yes, I came here to see the results of the first operation in early summer. As an intern who has only studied for more than half a year, the operation was so successful. Old Huang, have you not reflected on it? Director Wang's eyes darkened obviously, but then he managed to smile. The dean is right. Compared with the younger generation, I am indeed lagging behind. Old Huang, you should treat newly grown comrades with an attitude of appreciation. Don't get emotional just because you can't do something the other person can do. Dean Su stepped forward and smiled at Father Wang. How do you feel now? Sample. The dean came in person, and Wang's father was a little excited. Of course, he couldn't say anything bad, he just kept praising. It's very good, the operation was very successful, but I am old and my physical condition is not very good. The slow recovery is causing trouble for the hospital. The corners of Chu Xia's mouth twitched unconsciously. Honest people are better at giving eye drops to people. As expected, Dean Su glared at Director Huang. Huang Baoquan, did you tell the patient this? He called him by his first and last name. He seemed really angry. I have mentioned the reasons for this. Director Huang coughed unnaturally. Dean, you also know. Surgery is different from surgery. The patient's age, constitution, resistance to drug absorption, etc. are all different. This Wang brother, you are tired all the time, malnourished, and your body's immunity is low, so your recovery will naturally be slower. Haha. Dean Su laughed angrily. Are you teaching me? Huang Baoquan, have you forgotten, what did I do before becoming the dean? You are the apprentice I brought out. and you are running away. Come and teach me that dementia has already begun before I reach old age. Huang Baoquan's face turned red. He didn't expect that Dean Su would tell this here. When he first studied medicine, he did follow Dean Su, but this matter was not common among young doctors. People know it. He clearly felt it. Lin Chuxia's eyes turned to contempt when she looked at him. In fact, he really thought too much. Chuxia was just an accident now. You will pay all Wang Jiangguo's medical expenses, Dean Su said and looked at Wang's father. If you have any dissatisfaction, just mention it. If anyone dares to have a bad attitude, you can go to me and I will handle it. The prince's father still looked excited. I'm sorry for you, boss. It's good, everything is fine. I'm sorry for you, boss. Dean, I have a request. It was Wang Chunja who spoke. Dean Su nodded, okay. If you have any requests, feel free to ask. Whatever the hospital can satisfy, we will definitely satisfy you. I hope to transfer my dad to Dr. Xiaolin for care. I can't trust her. Wang Chunja pointed at Xiao Maikan, her attitude is very bad. I'm afraid that when you, the dean, are not here, she gives us little shoes to wear, and we will also. You can't just go and report to the dean for every little thing. After a moment of silence, Dean Su nodded, okay, Lin Chuxia will also be responsible for the second bed. Then he looked at Chuxia, Lin Chuxia, you can't make any mistakes, you know. Chu Xia stood up straight and puffed up her chest, yes. Huang Baoquan walked out without saying a word, and Xiao Maikan quickly followed. Yamiru slowly walked to Chu Xia, curled his lips at her, and said in a voice that only the two of them could hear, you villain. Chu Xiaoli ignored her and went straight to the second bed to record the data for Wang Fu. She wanted to go back and discuss it with Song Xiaoyu. It had been a few days and it was still not good, so she had to find a way. In fact, what Huang Baoquan said made sense. Wang's father was somewhat malnourished, and his recovery was indeed incomparable to that of a patient in 3 beds. The patient in the 3rd bed is named Wang Yuebao. He is an employee of the Post and Telecommunications Bureau. His wife is a teacher. Both of them have relatively good incomes and their children are already working. Unlike Wang Chunja's family, his father does not have a formal job and can only do odd jobs. My mother is in poor health and can't do anything except cooking. Wang Chunja's allowance is not much, and since there is only one daughter in the family, Wang's father always wants to save more money to prevent his daughter from being harmed when she gets old. Not only is he reluctant to eat, he often doesn't have enough to eat, and his body is a little weak. Recovery is naturally slower than ordinary people. However, these are not the fundamental reasons. In short, Huang Baoquan's surgery was still not done properly. Otherwise, he would not have been able to get out of bed for so long. When he returned to the office and told Song Xiao this, Song Xiao sighed, I know that patient. I came to see him specially. I didn't expect him to end up like this. I'll go over and have a look now. As a teacher, Chu Xia's affairs were naturally her business. Song Xiao threw down the medical records in her hands, got up and walked out. Chu Xia and Wang Jing hurriedly followed. The final examination results showed that Huang Baoquan's ligation was not good enough during the operation, which resulted in suture inflammation, and the patient's body's self-healing ability was also poor. After using the sling bottle for the past few days, the patient's body has developed a certain degree of drug resistance. We can't just start with medicines. Song Xiao insists on taking supplements as the main method and using medicine as a supplement. Once the physical fitness improves, the wounds will naturally heal faster. When they went out, Wang Chunja took Chu Xia's hand and thanked her quietly. You're welcome, I like volleyball. Chu Xia winked at her playfully and quickly ducked out. Dad, it's okay now. You'll get better soon. Turning back to look at his excited old father, Wang Chunja also became excited. Yeah, it's so hard to stay in bed. While he was talking, the nurse came in with nutritional medicine and smiled at the father and daughter. This is the medicine prescribed by Dr. Song. Thank you, Father Wang thanked him repeatedly. He didn't know whether he was thanking Song Xiao, the nurse, or Chuxia. After Chu Xia and Wang Jing returned to the office with Song Xiao sighed, Chu Xia, why are your temperaments so similar to mine? When you see something unpleasant, your brain gets hot. But the problem is, Huang Baoquan is a person who will definitely retaliate against you. He will definitely find fault with you whenever he sees an opportunity in the future, so you have to stay alert. Let's look for it. Who is afraid of whom? Chu Xia spread his hands indifferently. I think he just looks down on others. He is particularly interested in patients who are from a good family. He is always perfunctory when it comes to patients who are from an average family. This way, how can a person be a doctor? After thinking for a while, Wang Jing nodded. If you don't tell me, I really didn't pay attention. Then she looked at Song Xiao. Teacher, is there nothing Dean Su can do about him? His medical skills are quite good, and he has performed very successful surgeries on several leaders, so. Shaking her head, Song Xiao was too lazy to continue. The world is like this. There is never absolute fairness. Some people who like to be opportunistic often have more opportunities than honest people. Of the several doctors who were admitted to the hospital together with Huang Baoquan, only Huang Baoquan was promoted, while the other three were no worse than him in medical skills, but they could only be ordinary doctors under the leadership of Huang Baoquan. Are they convinced? But what if you are not convinced? If you want to support your family, you must work hard and avoid getting into trouble. Otherwise, the family will suffer from the northwest wind. This is the truth. By the way, I'm telling a gossip. Teacher, please don't scold me. Okay. Wang Jing looked at Song Xiao, waiting for the other party's reply. Go ahead, you've already opened your mouth. How can I not let you speak? Some people say it's good to see Huang Baoquan and Yamiru. Chu Xia spat out a mouthful of water and coughed for a long time before calming down. Senior sister, when I drink water from now on, don't talk about this level of farce. Do you need to be so excited? Based on your confrontation with her, you should know her character, so you think it's not surprising that she did such a thing? I'm not just talking nonsense. He walked to the door and looked around. Wang Jing turned back and lowered her voice. Lu Xiahua saw it with her own eyes. Didn't she enter the hospital with me? I happened to have dinner with her at noon, and she told me that she was an honest person and would definitely not be blind. Fake. Okay, let's just talk among ourselves. Don't talk nonsense about this without any basis. As Song Xiao spoke, the phone on the table rang. After hanging up the phone, she sighed, the new dean is here. Let the directors of each department go to the meeting, and you two should keep an eye on it. Yes. Not long after Song Xiao left, Zhao Qiliang came. Chu Xia was taking notes on medical records. When she looked up and saw him, she jumped up with joy. Brother, I heard that you have performed surgeries independently. My sister is really amazing. Zhao Qiliang lovingly rubbed Chu Xia's head as he leaned forward, and took out a handful of badges from his pocket. Hey, don't you want it? I'll give it to you. You collected it? Thank you, brother. When Chu Xia found a jade one, she almost wanted to kiss Zhao Qiliang. However, there were so many things in this era, so she just thought about it and didn't dare to take action. Brother, how did you get this? Chu Xia knew that this kind of badge was definitely not something ordinary people could have. She got the one from Mr. Zhou. Didn't we reorganize the organizational structure when I went on a mission? There was a guy in our class with a very impressive background, and he gave it to me. Zhao Qiliang couldn't help laughing as he said it, but he lost to me, and it hurts. It's been several days. Brother, you are so awesome. By the way, have you gone to Xiaoxing's place? Zhao Qiliang rubbed his head in embarrassment. Not yet. She works at the dean's office, so it's not convenient. I'll come over to see you first and wait until she gets off work. Zhou Hanliang went to find Jun Daodu. Zhao Qiliang nodded. Yes, he came with me. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First Marriage Then Love, Mr. Mayor Please Be Kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 542. Chapter 509. A few months later, Zhao Qiliang became noticeably darker and thinner, but he looked stronger. Looking him up and down, Chu Xia sighed, my uncle and aunt must have been heartbroken to see me like this. This paragraph you have to make up for the time carefully so as not to worry your uncle and aunt. Zhao Qiliang has passed the recruitment period. If he wants, he can go back to his hometown to celebrate the new year. However, although the members of the women's medical team are assigned to the base hospital and 401, their files are still recruits, so they cannot go back to their hometown to celebrate the spring festival. Fearing that Luo Xiaoxian would be homesick and uncomfortable, Zhao Qiliang decided to stay with him. Zhao Yushan and Li Aiwan were extremely satisfied with their daughter-in-law, so of course they would not stop their son. They even wrote a special letter and telegram to Zhao Qiliang, asking him to stay with Luo Xiaoxian. With such mother-in-law and father-in-law, it is difficult for Luo Xiaoxian to be unhappy. Seeing the brother and sister getting close, Wang Jing had a look of envy on her face. She had never had such feelings since she was a child. Maybe she just lacked family connections. After muttering a few words, Zhao Qiliang left consciously. His sister was still at work, so he could just come over and take a look. If he stayed here all the time, he would be disrespectful. When he was going downstairs, he came across a woman supporting a pregnant woman. The pregnant woman was as round as a ball. He quickly ducked to let the woman pass. Brother, the woman looked him up and down and said in disbelief, why are you so thin? I don't even dare to admit it. As soon as he heard the other party's voice, Zhao Qiliang knew who it was and looked up at her. I thought to myself, I'm so thin that you don't dare to admit it. You are so fat that I don't dare to admit it. You are wider horizontally than vertically. Where do you feel uncomfortable? Zhao Qiliang asked. The woman who was supporting Zhao Qian quickly said, no, I'm not uncomfortable. I'm just here for a normal checkup. This is my nanny Chi Ma. Zhao Qian pointed to the woman and said, you go to Dr. Chu to register for me first, and I will go over after saying a few words to my brother. Okay, madam, I'll go first. Chi's mother took 2 steps, then turned back and smiled at Zhao Qiliang, please take care of our madam. Zhao Qiliang waved his hands speechlessly. He really didn't have a good impression of the sister, but since he met her, he always said a few words. How is Lu Zhenqiang now? It's good, but he's busy. He's too busy all day now, but he's kind to me. I don't have to do anything now. Just take care of your baby. As he spoke, he smiled happily. Zhao Qian's eyes were not big originally, but now that he has gained weight, it is almost impossible to find his eyes when he smiles. How many months has it been? Zhao Qiliang pointed to Zhao Qian's belly. Why do I think she is going to give birth? Is it not as big as your belly? Brother, are you praising me or disparaging me? Zhao Qian pouted dissatisfiedly. Brother has preferred Chu Xia to not kiss me since I was little. I am your cousin, and I have the same surname as you. Why does this involve Chu Xia again? Zhao Qiliang shook his head helplessly. I said you had good intentions. You said you raised the child too big. What will happen if it becomes difficult to have a baby? Aren't you the one who suffered? Brother, if you want to say this, it's not bad. Zhao Qian stretched out his hand to caress his belly. Brother, don't worry, Dr. Chu has already said that he will give me a cesarean section when the time comes. After applying anesthesia, I won't feel any pain. As soon as I wake up, the baby will be taken out. It doesn't hurt after the anesthesia wears off. Zhao Qiliang glared at her. You can't eat less. When the time comes, it will be a normal delivery, and both adults and children will be fine. You said you have been like this since you were a child. You only want to enjoy happiness, and you don't care about the future. Brother, Zhao Qian interrupted him, I was very happy to see him, so I got close to him, but when he saw me, why did he do nothing but scold me? Brother, I am no longer a child. You have to save some face for me. You must know that at home, if I say something, the nanny dare not say anything. If she sees you treating me like this, will I still have authority? Besides, I am the wife of the deputy county magistrate now. Brother, don't always think of me as that little girl who doesn't understand anything. I am different now than before. MRS deputy county magistrate, Zhao Qiliang looked at her, a little confused. You mean, Lu Zhenqiang is the deputy county magistrate now? Yes, he and Xiao Binqi were not on the same page. He was just pretending to listen to them in order to cooperate with the leadership's work. Now, he is even more powerful than Xiao Binqi. Brother, do you think I am very lucky? In the past, you didn't believe that I could marry better than Chu Xia. Now, do you admit it? A frog in a well will always be a frog in a well. No matter how her identity changes, she is still so petty at heart. Speaking of which, her cousin Chu Xia is really a person. When she was young, she was not very sensible, but she suddenly became sensible. Later, she married into the Zhou family. For an ordinary girl, she would definitely be so embarrassed that she didn't know who she was. But she could do whatever she wanted. If we really talk about it, the family background of the Zhou family was such that Lu Zhenqiang would chase after him even after taking off his shoes. No, but in early summer, you should go to work and work hard, unlike this cousin, who suddenly doesn't know who you are and wants to lie down all day waiting for someone to feed you. He was curious, what did Lu Zhenqiang see in Zhao Qian? Is it possible that you just like this kind of greedy, lazy, and petty person? With these thoughts flashing through his mind, Zhao Qiliang smiled at Zhao Qian. Yeah, I didn't expect you to be so lucky. Since he couldn't persuade her, he didn't want to argue with her, so he simply followed her wishes and said a few words. Sent her away earlier. Of course. When I was a kid, people told me I was lucky, and the villagers laughed at me. Now when I go back, they all fawn over me with shy faces, trying to get my family Zhenqiang to arrange jobs for their children. These people are really it's interesting. They looked down on me before, but now they ask me to help them without saying anything. Who do they think they are? They don't even care about who they are and whether they have the qualifications to ask me for help. Zhao Qiliang followed his intention. Well, that's it. If you don't want to take care of it, you don't have to take care of it. Alas, this matter is really difficult to handle. If I refuse with just one sentence, they will say that I am done with it and no one will care about me anymore. Then you help. Brother, do you think your back hurts when you stand and talk? Zhao Qian stared at Zhao Qiliang dissatisfied. You can't just give me a serious idea and just deal with me. Qian, what can I do? Zhao Qiliang smiled bitterly. Besides, your brother, I am just a squad leader now, no one asks for anything, and I have no experience in this kind of thing, so how can I give you anything? Idea. Alas, Zhao Qian sighed, I used to look forward to marrying an official every day, but now that Zhenqiang has reached this position, I really understand that I have the worries of being an official if I find one. He was busy all day long. Apart from accompanying me back to my hometown, he never had any free time. It was the Chinese New Year and everyone else was on holiday, but he was still busy with all the messy things. During my prenatal checkup, he was not able to accompany me even once. Apart from asking the nanny to prepare delicious food for me and take care of me, no one else talked to me. Brother, I was almost bored to death at home. This kind of love is driving me crazy at home. Zhao Qiliang sighed helplessly and patted her. Xiao Yan, nothing in this world is perfect. If you don't want to go to work, you can't be bored at home. If Zhenqiang wants you to live a good life, he has to work hard, and naturally he won't have time to spend time with you. If he is at home with you, how can you live such a comfortable life, right? Brother, I understand the truth, but I just feel aggrieved. Zhao Qian wiped the corners of his eyes. I feel very close to you when I look at you. Brother, please be nicer to me in the future, and don't treat Chu Xia like you are. You are all my sisters, how could I treat you badly? Zhao Qiliang also softened his heart, but listen to my brother, just control your appetite. You are too fat now, which is not good for the child or you. Brother, you don't know because you've never been pregnant. It's not that I want to eat, but I'm just too hungry. Zhao Qian couldn't help but swallow as he said, if you don't let me eat something delicious when you see it, I will kill someone. Got it? Well, the most important thing is to be in a good mood when you're pregnant. If you really want to eat, just eat. You should be able to lose some weight when you're breastfeeding after giving birth. Brother, how come you understand all this? Zhao Qian asked Zhao Qiliang with a condescending look on her face. Are you studying in advance before you get married? When I have nothing to do, I also read some medical books. It is better to know something than to know nothing. If I get injured or feel uncomfortable, I will be aware of it. In fact, now many soldiers are studying medical knowledge on their own in order to be ready to use it on the battlefield one day. Zhao Qiliang, who are you talking to? Luo Xiaoxian ran over with a blushing face. Qian came over for a prenatal checkup. I happened to meet him. Just say a few words. Are you done? Zhao Qiliang looked at Luo Xiaoxian with soft eyes. I went to Chu Xia's place. I was afraid that it would be inconvenient for you, so I wanted to wait for you. I'll see you after get off work. The dean doesn't need me. I've been sitting outside in a daze. Luo Xiaoxian looked at Zhao Qian with shock in her eyes. In her impression, Zhao Qian was not thin, but she still couldn't accept being so fat. What are you looking at me like? Zhao Qian was unhappy. Brother, just take care of her, she is making fun of people. Why am I laughing at you? Luo Xiaoxian looked at her with a half smile. You are doing well, and you can even get our 401 gynecology number. By the way, why did you come to 401 for a prenatal checkup? Why can't I come to 401 for prenatal checkup? Zhao Qian looked at Luo Xiaoxian unconvinced. What do you mean? No, I mean well. I'm afraid you will feel inferior after meeting Chu Xia. Luo Xiaoxian has never had a good impression of Zhao Qian. Naturally, he was not polite when he spoke. First marriage then love. Mr. Mayor, please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 543. 1 Update. Why should I feel inferior after meeting Lin Chuxia? Zhao Qian stared at Luo Xiaoxian with a dissatisfied look on her face. Please tell me clearly, what do I have to feel inferior to? You are so fat, why don't you feel inferior? Luo Xiaoxian looked at her with an exaggerated expression. Don't you always like to compete with Chu Xia? Now that you have become so ugly, you have to hide from her at a distance. Zhao Qian puffed up her belly proudly. She got married earlier than me, and now she is still a hen with a flat belly. A woman must be able to have children to be happy with her husband's family. Just like her, a man can't live with her just because he wants to treat her temporarily. It won't take long for her to become disgusted, and her mother-in-law and father-in-law will be even more disgusted. People marry a daughter-in-law to carry on the family line, not to show off and be their ancestors. You want to be shameless? Luo Xiaoxian looked at her with contempt. I got pregnant without getting married, and now I still have the shame to say something about it. I don't want Chusia because of her young age. How can if you don't have time, plant it for yourself? Don't you think that's why men are crazy? You want face, you really want face, you want face so much, why are you rushing to please my brother? Aren't you just afraid that he will find another woman and you won't be able to do it? You think we all don't have eyesight? You used to go to my grandparents' house all the time, just for my brother. You said you were accompanying Chusia, it was just a pretense. Only a fool like her could believe it. Kian, what you said is wrong. Xiaoxing and I are together because we both think each other is good, and there are elders who propose marriage. There is no one who is trying to catch up with the other. Besides, now Xiaoxing wants to find someone better than me. It's easy now. Do you really think you're your brother? Xiaoxing is now the assistant to the dean. There are many more officials than brother. Brother, just protect her, you will regret it one day. Zhao Qian looked at Zhao Qiliang with hatred. You don't care when she says that about me, and you still belittle me when I speak for you, brother, you can't really promising. Qian, what I tell you is the truth. As Xiaoxing's boyfriend, I have to give her face no matter in front of relatives or friends. You wronged her. If I don't say anything, am I still a man? Of course, I know you are facing me, but there are some things that really cannot be done this way. I hope you can put yourself in my shoes and think about it. If Lu Zhenqiang doesn't give you face in front of his cousin and wrongly accuses you, what would you want him to do? Zhao Qian's expression suddenly fell, and she looked at Zhao Qiliang gloomily. Brother, you are right, his cousins bully me, but he doesn't help anyone. If only he was like you. Intuitively, Luo Xiaoxian feels that Zhao Qian is much gentler now than before. If it were before, she would definitely not talk about her shortcomings in front of her. Now that she can say this, it means that she already knows the importance of family ties and the importance of having her mother-in-law's family to protect her. On the other hand, it also means that her mother-in-law's family is not as good to her as she imagined. Zhao Qiliang also realized this and asked, where are your father-in-law and mother-in-law? Let's live in their own home. Zhao Qian pouted, I'm too lazy to see them. Since you have become someone else's daughter-in-law, you have to learn to be more obedient. What will happen if you give birth to a child in the future? According to you, Lu Zhenqiang is so busy that he can't help you, right? I don't have a nanny, so why should I be busy? Zhao Qian waved her hands indifferently. I gave him a son. If he doesn't take good care of me, is he still a human being? The son you gave birth to was not your son? Why did you say you gave birth to someone else's son? Luo Xiaoxian couldn't help but scold her. If you think like this, it would be strange if others take you seriously. I didn't talk to you. Zhao Qian stared at Luo Xiaoxian unhappily. I'm talking to my brother, can you please stop speaking up all the time? Qian. I know, I had a bad attitude, I'm sorry. Zhao Qian reluctantly apologized to Luo Xiaoxian, and looked at Zhao Qiliang with a pity look. Brother, you can go see me when you have time in the future, okay? Okay, I'll see you when I have time. Zhao Qian nodded and agreed. Brother, you answered me, and you are not allowed to go back on your word. Zhao Qian's voice was full of surprise, and it could be seen that her surprise was clear. Looking at his cousin like this, Zhao Qiliang couldn't tell how he felt. Ever since she was a child, this cousin has been the kind of person who doesn't know what modesty is. She feels that she should do anything for her. If it were in the past, if he agreed, she would only take it for granted. If he didn't agree, it must have been a huge commotion, but now, her expression clearly showed that her agreement to him was somewhat unexpected. A person's personality changes often because he has experienced something he has never experienced before. After all, the other person is a relative with whom he has a blood relationship. Zhao Qiliang does not want her to have a bad life, Even if her feelings for the Zhao family are very weak, I don't want her to be bullied outside. This is blood and family ties. It seems that he wants to find some time to talk to his cousin alone. Both his cousin and cousin are here. As their brother, he has the responsibility to take good care of them. Madam, it's your turn. Nanny Chima trotted over and stretched out her hand to hold Zhao Qian. Madam, it's your turn. Let's go over now. Brother, I'll go there first, remember what you promised me. Zhao Qiliang nodded. Don't worry, I will definitely do what I promised you. You should know what kind of temper I have. She has changed a lot after Zhao Qian and the nanny disappeared around the corner. Luo Xiaoxiang sighed, I don't know if this is good or bad. You are a standard talkative person. You clearly care about her, but you insist on saying something so unpleasant. Zhao Qiliang looked at her helplessly. As a manager, don't you have to be more diplomatic? Of course I can't talk like that at work. After a pause, Luo Xiaoxiang sighed, if I knew that her personality was different, I wouldn't have treated her like that. Do you think I would have hurt her? You think too much. There are not many people who can hit her. Don't worry, no matter how your personality changes, some fundamental things will never change. After saying that, Zhao Qiliang laughed. Since I was a child, I have never seen how she had admired everyone and didn't know where the confidence came from. She felt that she was the best. When they got off work in the evening, Luo Xiaoxiang and Zhao Qiliang came over to see Chu Xia. The first thing they did when they met was to tell them about Zhao Qian's situation, and finally said, tell me, is she not married at all? After thinking for a while, Chu Xia nodded, it's possible. Otherwise, how could it be possible that mother-in-law and father-in-law don't live together? No matter how bad it is, they are still my cousins. I'll ask Zhou Mikang to help me find out what's going on. No wonder you two have such a good relationship. Zhao Qiliang looked at the two of them and smiled helplessly. You are unforgiving and your heart is softer than anyone else. Do you think you can't change this temper? Why are you so wordy? You told me that just now, and now you say that again. Luo Xiaoxiang glared at him. You went on a mission, why did you become your mother-in-law? You. Seeing that Wang Jing and Song Xiao were both smiling, Zhao Qiliang smiled bitterly and said nothing more. Early summer, don't play too late at night, you have to go to work tomorrow, Song Xiao warned when going out. Teacher, I know. I won't leave with you. My dad has just moved here. I have to go back early to have dinner with him. He will definitely not be in a good mood these days. Hey, Wang Jing sighed while waving her paws and a few fingers. People say goodbye. Chu Xia waved her paw at her, tell Uncle Wang that we will go see him in 2 days. After Wang Jing left, Luo Xiaoxiang whispered in Chu Xia's ear, your senior sister is so dedicated. She rushes back to hand over her work after get off work. So, everyone has the advantages we learned from, right? Chu Xia looked at her with a smile, you can't just remember that she used to exclude her colleagues. Regarding her colleagues, it shows that Teacher Song can guide her for so many years. There must be something good about her that makes Teacher Song like her. Are you really stupid to be Teacher Song? I don't think Teacher Song is stupid, I just think you are more suitable for administration than me. Luo Xiaoxiang curled her lips, you always educate people, I don't like you anymore. I know, since my brother is back, of course you don't like me anymore, Chu Xia said and shrugged, it's okay, if you want to have a world with my brother, just go, I won't laugh at you. Zhao Qiliang, do you care about your sister? Haha. Zhao Qiliang smiled naively, I don't want to mess around with you too. Now I have doubts about my position in your heart. When Zhao Qian targeted me earlier, you looked at me and stopped interfering. That's because Zhao Qian was obviously wrong. Now when Chu Xia targets me, you don't turn towards me at all. It's obvious that Chu Xia is bullying me. Look at how arrogant you are. Chu Xia rolled her eyes at her and looked at the time, why haven't you come here yet? Could it be that you have forgotten us? No way. Luo Xiaoxian calmed down and stopped quarreling with Chu Xia, or maybe Daodu and Johan Liang gave up. Jun Daodu and Johan Liang made an appointment with everyone to go to Jun's house to encourage them. They agreed to come over at 5:30 and set off together. It was now 5:40 and neither of them showed up yet. No wonder Luo Xiaoxian was worried. Chu Xia thought for a moment and shook her head. No, it's probably because Daodu's side is still busy with things at hand. As you know, they always have a lot of patients there, so it's normal for them to be a little late after get off work. It's okay, just wait a little longer, I'll probably be here soon.